And so let's talk about that refinement zone, because it sounds like there's synergies between that. There's opportunity in every conversation. And you and I are both radio guys, so we get the conversation thing. But let's go into the refinement zone. When did that start? Where did it evolve from? Because obviously, like, effort over results for me evolved from raising my kids and learning the mistakes I made. Where did the refinement zone come from? Let's start there.
Okay, well, that's a great question, and that's right where the beginning. Because when I was mentioning, before we even got into radio, I was writing my first book. When I finished graduate school, I knew I wanted to do something. Sandy wanted to do something, so we decided we're going to start a little business, and I was going to be a personal trainer, which I am, and I'm still certified. I've been certified
Nice.
for 50 years now. She got a nutritional consultant certification, which was quite expensive, and but she never really utilized it because some other things came along to help us with the refinement zone. So we're writing the book, and I'm getting the book ready, and I'm doing this stuff. And the guest I had on yesterday, that I recorded with yesterday, Mickey Haddock, he was helping me write this book because he's done books. I didn't know. I had a stack of notes like this. I swear to God, everybody, I had a stack of notes 2 inches thick underneath a stone on my desk. And I took all of those notes and I put them into a Word document. And I carved that thing up into my first book. And that's where the Maximize book, the genesis of the Maximize book came from. And so I had to learn. And so I would get guests on the show that were experts in self-publishing books. Dan Pointer was a guy who's now deceased, unfortunately, but he was like the kingpin of self-publishing. He wrote the book on self-publishing. And an
Mm.
editor that I had talked to said, you need to get his book. And so I read his book on how to write books,
Hmm.
and it was so good. So then I interviewed him because our radio programming and our podcasting gives us license to talk to these people. So he helped me with all of that, got the book going, doing all of that. Mickey Haddock suggested I get a coach, this woman named Philippa Burgess, and I did. And she was a virtual coach who was helping me, like you're doing with your stuff, and virtual coaching with people, or like what I do with my stuff, because I do my stuff with people, with the prime objective or goals and stuff. She was the one who said, you need to get on LinkedIn. And I'm like, well, I'm on LinkedIn. She says, no, LinkedIn, you need to get on LinkedIn to get into LinkedIn groups. And I'm like, okay, great. And that's how things started to progress with radio. But in the meantime, I knew that I needed to have some branding done. And this is the key where the refinement zone came along, because
Mm.
there was a company here in town, and this is a tip for everybody, because go find, get the money to do the branding correctly at first. If you're watching this podcast and you see my logos and stuff behind me, we designed M3 Marketing here in Lansing, Michigan. They're awesome. I pitched them my whole, what I'm trying to do here with the book. I didn't even have the radio show at the time. I was just getting ready to market the book. I needed something. I needed artwork. I need all this stuff I didn't even know I needed. They're the ones who, after my pitch and my whole gig, a guy named Pete Ruffing, who's a great guy, lives in Florida now. He came back and he said, we got this concept. We're going to do this, and it's going to cost you X. And I'm like, I can't afford it. I didn't have the money. I mean, I didn't expect it to be, it was 10 grand. And I'm like, I don't have 10 grand. He says, well, what can you do? And I said, I can do five. And so that's the first tip. Negotiate. Tell them the truth. Don't
Yep.
overextend yourself.
Yep.
So for 5 grand, I got and they came up with that catch line with the refinement zone. And it was like, that's brilliant. I didn't think of it. They did. I paid them all of that logo with the peace sign and all the little acronyms that we have there and iconography that we have and all the colors. That was all them. They gave me the elevator pitch. They gave me the mission statement. They helped define in my head the very, very early days of what in the hell I was trying to articulate to people. And again, this is before radio. So it's like I'm just trying to get through with this book and this brand that we're creating. And Pete Ruffing, luckily, he was a guy my age at the time, 15 years ago, 50 years old. He was he was totally down with it. The younger folks that were in the meeting, they didn't get it. They didn't understand the boomer thing, because back then it was boomers. We're still Boomers Rock Media as a company, and the radio show originally was the Boomers Rock Show, but we kept the Boomers Rock LLC as our main company because of all of our checks and all that stuff, business stuff. But I was helped encouraged. I'm getting ahead of myself with radio, but I was encouraged years and years later by my radio mentors to change the name from the Boomers Rock to my own name, because the only way people are going to get to know me on a nationally syndicated basis is, and that's what my goal was originally, was you got to put your name up there. So it's like, okay, so we did the rebrand, but that's in a nutshell. Again, another long answer to a good question. The Refinement Zone was from M3 Marketing. It was from a branding company